Yeah, let's go. Oh, we're live. We're live. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna give it just a few minutes before we get started on this hobby set review. We'll take it from there. Quiet. Crank the music just a little bit. Can't already hear it. There you go. Running and running and running. Multi-stream. Multi-pass. Here we go. Oh, I just need this. It's shared. All right. All right, let's get live. Woo! Hey, all right, so I am very excited to be streaming tonight, just for a little bit, so that I can show you one of these cool hobby sets that I got in. I go through a lot of paint. I go through brushes. I go through all kinds of things. And for years, I've been adamant about using the Army Painter. If you're unfamiliar with the Army Painter, it is a hobby brand. And so they put out a bunch of different stuff, not just paints. They put out glue and clippers and paintbrushes and effects, washes. And I'm going to go through what I consider to be one of the best hobby starter kits out on the market. Nothing compares, because it's great value. So this is the Army Painter hobby set. And so it's not just paint. It's a whole kit for getting into modeling, for getting into... Courtney, thank you very much for sharing my stream. It's a great set for modeling. It's a great, like, if you want to do Gundams, if you want to do model cars, if you want to do all kinds of stuff. And so it's got a lot of different materials that can help you with that. Switch to the double cam. Okay, so this is brand new. I got it for Christmas. I needed paints. I needed brushes. I really needed some new clippers. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what comes inside of the hobby set. So, what I love most about the Army Painter is they put out these really cool little free guides. If you go into a hobby store like Etten Games and Hobbies, Fat Ogre, a lot of the times they'll have a huge rack of paint sets from the Army Painter with their paints, their quick shades, their washes, their tones, their speed paints. I have a set of speed paints coming in. I've never used them before, so once they come in, I'll be trying them out on a few models and then giving a review on those as well. But today I'm going over this hobby set, which has everything that's inside of it I've used before. They give out these really cool little painting guides that help brand new painters do everything that I do, right? Shows you how to do base, shows you how to prime the models, how to use the tones and washes effectively, goes through their entire line of paints. It's very helpful. Tool and assembly safety guide. So they want you to be safe and and they're showing you how to use all these little things that are going to be in here. Paints. Oh, all right. So, sorry. The paints are fantastic. For years, I used Army Painter over P3 and Citadel. Sabrina, thank you very much for sharing the stream, and thank you for liking it. For years, I used Army Painter over Citadel and any other Cameo, like a bunch of different brands, because they come in this really nifty dropper bottle, right? So crack it open. You don't dip your brush into it like with other paints, so you could contaminate it with who knows what. You pour out a little bit onto your paint palette and then go from there. Hey, thank you! Sent 99 stars. I got my first stars. Yay! Gabe, thank you. And so we got paint. The Army Painters paints are very good. They're pigment rich. I used to have trouble with their yellows. Their yellows have, I guess they modified the formula. One of the really cool things about their main colors is that they have primers in all of their big main colors. So like pure red, 100% color match. A little sticker right there, 100% color match. They're going to have it on a majority of these paints, because you can buy these paints in a spray can primer. So what I do is you take models, and like the models started off this color. I spray paint them with a black primer to get them primed and ready for painting, so the paint takes easy. The Army Painter has these, all of their colors. So if you wanted to start off with their demonic yellow or pure red or matte black, you can just go out to a hobby store, pick them up, or online pick them up. I always highly recommend going into your local gaming store, hobby store, to help further the hobby, right? Without our little stores, we wouldn't have a place to play. So paints are fantastic. I'll actually be using some of the white on stream tonight. Let me get that out of here. I'll be taking it straight out of my kit. Give it a little bit of a shake. And I want to double check something. Something that they started doing, which they didn't do before, was these little paint bottles now have a little bearing on the inside of it, like a ball bearing, so that it helps mix the paint up, right? Instead of just sloshing it around inside of the container. If there's any pigment at the bottom, if you leave your paints settled, on end for a long period of time, the paint and pigments will settle at the very bottom. And then that'll make it so that it starts to separate, right? You got liquid, mediums, and then the actual paint pigmentation. That ball bearing on the inside helps stir that up real good. I'm gonna use that paint on stream tonight. Bloop. Let me show y'all. I've always had fantastic luck, even to this day. I've switched over to Monument Hobbies on my normal paints that I usually use. The person who got me these paints for Christmas did not know that I switched over to Pro Acryl, but the Army Painter is still a very good brand of paint. And for somebody getting into painting and the hobby of this hobby set is the way to go. It gives you all the main colors. It gives you a tone. So tones are washes. They're something that you put on after you've painted your model to give them a little bit more depth or to make them look a little ruddy. And then they have great metallics too, which metallics is exactly like it sounds. So this is going to look like a silver metal, right? And you can tell the difference from normal paints by their caps. Right? Normal paints are going to be white capped, tones and washes are going to be red capped, and then their metallics are in a black cap. So that's kind of easy to, that's very helpful for identifying them later down the line. This is what I'm very excited about, were the hobby extras inside of the hobby starter. Now, for anybody that's watched my stream, you know that I prefer Loctite Ultra Gel Super Glue for assembling my models. I prefer the time. It gives me a little bit more time to set my pieces in place. Takes a little bit longer for it to dry. The Army Painter Super Glue is regular super glue. They give you enough in here to assemble several models because a little bit goes a long way. A nice set of clippers. These they're spring loaded, so they'll open right back up after you snip whatever you're trying to do. And I cannot live without snips of some sort. I used to use my, where's my blade? I used to use my X-Acto blade for everything. And I said before, I always say, you know, watch where you're cutting, watch what you're doing. If you have a set of these snips, you don't have to watch where you're cutting. You just get into all little tight grooves and spaces and clip them out. It did come with a little paint palette, which is nice, right? Again, this hobby starter set is fantastic for beginners, people getting into the hobby. If somebody you know has talked about modeling or building Gundams or starting to play war games, this is the hobby set to get them. It's fantastic. Because it also comes with brushes. Nice brushes, expensive brushes in this kit. All right, so here we have a precise detail brush. I'm talking about, it is a very fine tip in comparison to what I use to paint most of my models. Look at that. Very fine, very durable, lasts a long time. I do have a few Army Painter brushes. Like this is an Army Painter brush that I've been using for years. It's a dry brush, and I've torn it apart. So thankfully, inside the hobby starter set, I have a fresh, brand new dry brush. I'm actually going to save that because I don't think that this dry brush has actually gone out, and I've had it for years, and I've painted thousands of models. But with dry brushes, you can't do that. I'm going to put this little plastic sleeve back on to my brush so that I can protect that fine tip. And then this is the precise detail. And this is the starter brush. So this is more along the lines of what you'll find inside of a Walmart, Hobby Lobby. It's a big basic brush, right? Fantastic. The Army Painter brush is going to last you longer. It's much better quality. It'll withstand you not washing them regularly. Maybe accidentally putting it somewhere. The bristles are in a very, very good place. Boop, boop, boop. Where is it? And then, oh, not that one. Where'd it go? There it is. Brand new. Can't wait to use it. Hobby dry brush. Oop. That right there. Now, something that I think a lot of hobbyists don't utilize enough is a file. I used to use a file a lot when I was assembling metal miniatures, but a lot of companies have gone to plastic. A lot of companies have switched over and are using some sort of plastic or resin. Very few of them use metal, but you can still use a very nice fine grit file to trim down or smooth out rough spots that are left behind by the sprues themselves. I won't be using this tonight on stream because my miniatures come from a board game, so they didn't have any sprues on them. But if you look at other assembly pieces. Every once in a while you'll find a little burr, right, that was left over from taking it off of the sprue. And these files are great for just taking it over and working it clean, smoothing it out. Like it's not even there anymore. Boop. Same thing here. Beep, boop, boop, boop. And so maybe I will be using it on the stream so that you can see. Oh. Come on. Boop. How useful this is, especially once you start assembling your own models. Because there's going to be pieces of sprue that you can't get, maybe that you can't hit flush with the clips, but that's it. Again, this is a fantastic piece. They stand behind their stuff. Contact them immediately if you find anything that you're not happy with. You can see all the different products that they have, from starter kits, multiple different paint kits, those primers that I was telling you about that come in the spray cans, whole setups. Like I said, in most of our hobby stores, like if you walk into any hobby gaming store, you'll be able to find one of these huge sets with all the different colors, with all the different washes, with all the other things that they come in. They have I have around here somewhere some Army Painter tufts of grass, right? They have basing materials so that you can base your models, so it's not just a flat base. You can put gravel or bricks or foliage. They have little flowers, all different kinds of stuff that they come out with. It's really, really nice and really, really useful, and that you don't see from a lot of other places. And they market this in their box. So highly recommend it. I can't give you a regular price point on this because you can find it on Amazon. You can go into a game store. I do recommend heading into your local hobby shop and checking it out. And I'm going to give you a little look of what it's like to use these paints on some of these models tonight. So this is their matte white. Down a little bit, make sure you can hear. Hey Kevin, thanks for watching. You can actually hear that ball bearing on the inside of the paints. That helps to get the pigmentation moving around correctly so that you're not just painting with medium. Oop. And even their paint formula, they definitely have changed their paint formula, and it is much smoother, flows really well. Very thick pigmentation. Start with, you know what, y'all guys picked it up. Here goes Batman. I'm gonna dry brush my Batman. Clone 346, my brother over on Twitch. Here we go. So I have primed this Batman model. I'm just going to take a little bit of this matte white. I'm going to start dry brushing them. Just sort of like pop all of his. Go ahead, baby. So this technique is called slap chop, where you prime the model black, go back over with the dry brush, getting all the details. And then I will later come back in with those Army Painter speed paints that I was talking about earlier. I have not tried them yet, but I've seen them work wonders. I love the idea of the slap chop technique. I've done the slap chop technique with the Citadel contrast paints, so I know it works. See, we're just, with this dry brush technique, we're barely getting any paint on there, all right? And that's so that when the speed paints runs over it, it's only going to catch the areas that I'm really trying to get coloration into. Slap chop. Slap chop, slap chop is the new craze, and I'm with it. I'm hip, I'm jiggy. I love it. So what I won't do is I will not already did. I am not going to paint the underside of his cloak because I'm going to paint that a different color, and I want that to stay dark so that it looks dark. Right? I want the model itself to pop, and I want the underside of the cape to sort of just not be there, blend into the background. I'm hip. I'm not quite sure what else there is to be. I'm not lit or things of that nature, but I am most definitely hip. And don't worry about when Jiggy with it came out. I know I'm jiggy with it. I'm hip. All right. So the really cool thing about the slap chop method is that you could stop just right here, right? If you look at the model, it has a lot of contrast. You can see very great detail on it. Bring this light down for you. So it went to we went from this matte black, can barely see anything. Slap chop, baby. Sorry. Do very good detail work. Look, you can now see that emblem on his chest, the pouches on his utility belt, the curve of his muscles. You could absolutely stop right there, right? Put it down on the table, and it looks really neat. Next, what we'll be doing is we'll be going back over with the speed paints to give it pops of color, right? Because this particular Batman has grays and different colored blacks, maybe even some dark purples in certain areas to highlight. Tell Katie thank you. And so I am going to stop right there with him. I'm going to paint. I wanted to paint Commissioner Gordon from the get-go, so I'm going to dry brush him so you can see. All right, starting the model off here. Now it is I'm clocking it at 24 minutes 40 seconds on my stream clock. Now we're going to start the slap chopping process. Again, this is just a good dry brush. Pop all these details. All right. This is a board game piece, so the details aren't 100% great, but when you do this, it really does make them all stand out. All right. I mean, really, like my brother's saying, if you look at Commissioner Gordon's mustache, it's actually very defined on this model, and you wouldn't have been able to see that if I had not applied this hip slap chop method. With my synth music in the background. Oh. You wanted me to talk more about Batman's muscles. I decided to go into Commissioner Gordon's mustache because I find that much more attractive than Batman's muscles. Nothing like a good stash. So while I have been dealing with hecklers, talking to the camera, hanging out with all you fine people, I said 24 minutes 40 seconds, and it is now 27 minutes. So it took me less than 3 minutes to do the slap chop. After this, it'll just be applying the speed paints, which come in on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. Because I don't order from Amazon, I like to shop locally at my game stores. Or unlocally, sometimes I gotta drive out a way to get my stuff. But I would much rather drive 30 to 45 minutes to a local game store than order online. Unless I'm ordering from that game store. Oh, see, I didn't even know who this was till I dry brushed him. Made a Nightwing over here. I guess I could have figured it out by his tonfas, but there's kendo sticks. What are these things called? Eskrima? Dash team for the win. Thank you, Gabe. Nightwing's going to take even less time. Look at all those details just popping out on them. Doo-doo-doo. Details. So this is part of a commission project that I'm working on for a good friend of mine. I don't normally do my commission projects on my streams, but I wanted to show off this hobby set that I got and how useful everything inside of it is, right? If I absolutely needed to, I could have started clipping things and super gluing things, but it's not necessary because the hobby starter set talks for itself. It comes with a good set of base paints. High-end, nice brushes, a file, super glue. I lost the here they are. My favorite piece of it, new clippers, because these things are super expensive. This just helps a lot. And a nifty little paint palette, right? Like, my poor paint palette's seen better days. So now I have a new paint palette to ruin. I might even keep this one clean since it is a nice paint palette. Boop. So that's it for today's stream. Again, I highly recommend the Army Painter hobby set. Fast, easy, has everything you need to get started in the hobby. Exactly that. If you want to build Warhammer, if you want to build Gundams, if you want to just take the paints and do some acrylic painting. It comes with good brushes and can be used really quick. I highly recommend the Army Painter hobby set. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. There's my rating system. Stars, not pieces of toast. Like my little toaster dog in the corner. So, pick you up a set at your local hobby store. If you don't have a local hobby store, hit me up on Facebook, where I can send you links to my local hobby store, and you can help them out. All right, let's buy local, people. I love you very much. Have a good night.